I moved here in Switzerland about 7 months ago. I was in New Orleans before, and I was there for about 12 years. A couple of days into 2009, I woke up. I live about 50 meters from now, and this is on my way to go to school, and I find this, this sign, 3 meters, 4 meters on a pole. And I thought, well, this is interesting, huh? This is kind of interesting. And first of all, I kind of really like the idea that someone at night said, like, this thing has to change. People need to understand that they may be wrong. So at night, he goes up, boom, 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 plug this to the pole, and goes. We never know who it was. That was still unknown in 2012. On the other side, you understand, I live close to there, and every single morning I walk and I look at this thing. It's like, okay, I understand. I might be wrong. Can we move on, please? So, and I wish, I really wish that this sign was done a couple of years before. I teach finance. I was a banker. I hide that, though, the same way, pretty much the way you hide it. And a couple of years ago, before that moment, was like 2008, defining moment, at least defining moment for me. Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt. We call it Greek. The word is in Greek. This is the only thing about the Greek crisis. The Greek crisis is the only thing that we know. Everything else is not Greek. But what do we know about this? The crisis is a process of transformation where the old system cannot be long, sustained. Important thing for a crisis is that we're going to have some change. That is important. If you have a crisis without change, we have a failure, and clearly that we don't want to have it. And so what is, I think, things are changing, all right? Things that are changing. And I'm very pleased, I'm very touched by the speaker before, because this is exactly the heart of where I'm trying to go here. This is what I believe was a little bit of the old model. It's the firm in the middle of a network with clear boundaries, so to speak. And it's the companies, which is like this. We are here, you are there. And the firm is there, arm's length for the rest of the world. Profits, value maximization. We talk about mission, targets, right? Profit targets. We have a mission, we have a strategy. It's very much, the talk of war. It's not really what I think about that. And we have investors, we have customers, we have everything, a set of people moving around this network, this interesting network. This needs to stop, all right? This needs to stop, and this is where companies are going, and really believe that. This is where companies are going a little bit. We are removing, and companies are really removing the boundaries of the corporation to incorporate as a major stakeholders. Mind, what I mean by this is that we still have customers, going to be a little bit less arm's length. We have investors, clearly a little bit less arm's length. We have communities, and definitely a little bit less arm's length. But everything should be in this kind of network in order to co-produce value. All right? And of course, things are really changing, if you think. Look about this. Do you remember a couple of years ago, I like this idea, Twitter. Who uses Twitter over here? Raise your hand. Do you follow me? You'd be really good, because I don't have a Twitter account. So that would be like really spectacular as a thing. 2006, one of the founders of Twitter sends the first Twitter. Just sending my thing. Where do they want to go? It was not very clear at the beginning. It was not really clear at the beginning. Do they want to be a social network? Do they want to be a media company? It was not clear. Now, of course, if you don't know where you're going, all streets and all things are going to be bringing you there. And this is exactly what I'm trying to show over here. Believe it or not, until 2011, they did not have a business model. From 2006, very well organized product. Clearly, a lot of you know what I'm talking about, so probably you use it. And yet, until 2011, they did not have a business model. What did they do? They reach out. How? Basically, there was a contest in a magazine on, please, I mean, clearly we are good enough, to create that thing, but we are not really good enough in order to understand how we can make money out of it. Isn't it interesting? They basically come to us and say, hey, can you help us to make money out of it? Really? And you know what? We were happy. We were absolutely happy. Okay? We start writing blogs and stuff. How can we help these people? We really like this scripting. The world is so much better with this. And we did it. Is it the only example? What about Wikipedia? I constantly try to write something with Wikipedia. I get rejected right away, but I really try. I really try. Not very lucky about that. What about Facebook? So what I'm trying to say here is that I think Twitter was very good in bringing customers, bringing communities, the tech communities inside the thing, so that instead of inside the circle, inside the network, so that instead of really creation of value, we can really talk about co-creation of value. Clearly, for some reason, about 200 million tweets every single day are done in 2011. It was clear that this model would not be sustainable without an economic model, and we provide them with economic model. And this is really the company that I'm looking forward to. A company can stretch its boundaries in all possible direction to get customers, to get investors, to get communities, to get medias, to get anybody in order to somehow get in the system and try to co-create value. Do you remember about this? Grameen Bank, right? The bank of the poor, owned by the poor, the bank of the poor. How did it work in 2 seconds? The way it worked was very simple. In India, this person actually, after got the Nobel Prize, would give very little loan for, I would say, Western standard, maybe $50, maybe $40 to buy a cow, to buy something that could be used to some extent as an investment advice, maybe a cellular phone that people could use in order to call people all over the country or outside the country. If we make this, we make very little loans, no collateral, not lengthy things to write, to sign, very simple. And he created an empire out of this. A lot of people were put out of luck, really, out of poverty because of that. How is that? Isn't it great? How that system could work? The system could work only under the hypothesis that all the links were there. That is, we needed a community. Surprisingly enough, the actual loan was given almost exclusively to women, because apparently the men would go and drink. I cannot be more understanding of that. And the loan was kind of public. So everybody else in the community was checking, hey, are you giving back your loan? And the way in which the money was given back was very public as well. People would go physically to repay the debt. How is that a value co-creation? How about bringing different stakeholders inside the business in order to make it more profitable? Now, would your idea would change about this, the importance, how good this business model is, if I tell you that the yield on gross portfolio was higher than 17% since 2002, which is the moment in which this bank was created? That basically says that the interest rate charge was at least 17%. That's pretty impressive. Average return on equity, which is a little bit of a measure of how good of investment it is in that period, was about 12%. So with respect to still profit maximization of value, so to speak, not just for shareholders, for greater constituencies, this is really what was leading in this particular bank. What about your role of this? And I think what your role is that finally we really have a society that actually can make choices. You can really make choices. Your stomach is pretty full and we can start making decisions, real decisions. And decisions can be about everything. It's not really, when I talk about stomach, it's not really just about, which kind of food do you want to eat, which is still a good decision, I guess. Which kind of lifestyles you want to have. It's up to you, right? Which kind of, really, how clean you want to be. You want to go to work with an electric car, with a supercar, or just taking Thomas the train. I mean, everything would work as long as you get there. However you actually want to spend your pastime. It could be with a show or a book. Actually, it's the same show. I mean, it's the same thing, all right? It just changes the format. So, whatever you like it, it's there. Or even with respect to something different, which is a little bit more serious. Okay, here we have like a very smiley, beautiful child. Sometimes things were not so smiling, they were like a little bit tougher. This is the first time in the history of the world that some of the people in the world actually can make a choice. And as you can make a choice. So there's really very little that you can blame on anybody else. I mean, we have been very good to blame it to finance. It would be very good to blame it to Greece, or maybe to the Americans, who definitely spend too much. But you know what? We are getting out of fingers here. It's us. We can make decisions here. If you think that there's like too much carbon emission, don't fly. Seriously. Like, don't fly. Don't blame it on someone else. If you think that some food is not good enough, don't buy it. If you think that, let's say, there are companies, and let me forget about names, all right? Forget about names. If there are some companies that are not producing some food, just don't buy it, right? As consumers, we have this choice that we didn't have, many years ago. Even if I go to my little store that sells Thai food in Saint Leger, like 3 types of pasta, really, 2 different brands. So if I don't like this one, which is blue, and I like the other one, which is yellow, I just go with the yellow one. I can make a choice. You can make a choice before. And as long as we make choices which are in line with our values, so however you want to refine them, however you want to define them, I think capital is going to follow. I really believe, I was really touched by the presentation before. I was very touched by the carbon thing. I was really touched by the fact that I actually could sell all the stuff in the actual market and making money out of this. This is really what touched me. Okay? A really sustainable business. Very interesting. Congratulations, bravo to that one. So, are we heading in the right direction? I think we are heading in the right direction. This is the kind of entrepreneurship that I really enjoy. On top of this, look at this. This is a picture of me, and they're not just my family. Okay? There are many families over here. What you're saying, this is a big family. I do have a big family, but it's not that big really. Okay? Unfortunately, I'm the one here on the left. All right? I still do not understand what my mother was thinking when she actually bought this thing here. Maybe she thought that I would have been like, I don't know, definitely not. I like the socks, but apparently that was like everybody had the same socks and the same shoes. On the other side, we have my 2 kids, Kiri and Ty. Now, see, these are really beautiful. I mean, this is objectively beautiful. And I'm speechless. How could they make it so beautiful? Now, look how much of increasing in the quality of the race. If the world look a little bit like this, I think we are going to head in the right direction.